Ivo, experience management, right? This is obviously one of the big themes of this conference, of SAP in general. We saw some of the cool ads and Clive Owen. What does experience management mean to you, and how do you think, especially this audience, the analyst audience, and also the SAP TechEd audience, how should they be thinking about experience management?
So first about experience. So you're sitting since many, many hours in this room with artificial light only, and outside is a beautiful day with blue sky. So thank you for doing that. I can imagine what your experience is with the room. So let's make it hopefully interesting for you. And thank you for coming back after so many hours. Now, before I talk about experience management and the technology behind, I'd like to share with you an experience which I had probably 2 weeks ago. So we had ordered a new car and I picked it up, and of course I've been doing a lot of reading on how the car drives and all of that. And then I tried to connect my phone to the car via Bluetooth, which is the most normal thing on earth, and it didn't work. Now we all know stuff happens, so apparently I needed an update on my phone. However, nobody at the dealership was able to help me. There was no database, there was nobody to talk to, so they couldn't really figure out what's going on. So I was on my own, and I tell you, despite everything that I did on research, I felt this car is not driving particularly well, and I was really upset because I couldn't listen to music. Something which I'm sure the engineers spending tons and tons of hours developing that, marketing the car, sales bringing it to market, they probably have not thought that such a little glitch would have such an impact, and I was really upset, I must say. Now, here comes the issue. For sure, they have some feedback management. For sure, maybe the dealer sends back a note to the manufacturer of the car to say, hey, this experience was not good. But I can imagine there are many pots of feedback which are coming together. So how do you make sense of all the feedback from customers? And more importantly, how do you collaborate within the company to make sure this bad experience doesn't happen again? Because this has nothing to do with marketing and sales. This is an issue that has to be solved in quality assurance of engineering. And how do you orchestrate all of that? Would marketing and sales really have a platform to talk to engineering and to quality management? In most companies, I doubt that. So I'm just saying that so that we understand that while sometimes we're not doing a great job at SAP because we go into our slang and we talk about X and O, and we assume that all of you and everybody on the earth knows what X and O is. Of course, XO at the end of an email or message is something well known, but we assume that the experience data and the operational data is something that people fully understand. And one of our key goals at marketing is to humanize that, to make that experienceable. So people really start thinking, wait a minute, such a little thing like a Bluetooth connectivity can screw up the whole experience of this car, and it's so little in comparison to developing to a whole program of bringing that car to market. So that's my point. We have a real issue. We call that the experience gap. I'm sure that the CEO of this company thinks that customers have a great experience. There's a gap between what he or she thinks and what I felt, and this experience gap needs to be closed. And it's our job in marketing at SAP to communicate that, to excite people, to say, here's an issue. It's not just a marketing discipline. It's a whole company discipline, and usually there are no processes, no thinking within the company, no platform to solve that. That's to start with.
So I have to say, first world problem, much.
Yeah, still.
But as you say, real, right?
Totally.
Unhappy customer. Actually, if anybody's interested, there's a fantastic case study that Qualtrics did a couple of years ago with Porsche. Turns out people loved driving Porsche cars. They always have. They didn't so much enjoy buying the Porsche cars. And so they used Qualtrics to figure out what was going wrong in the entire end-to-end purchase cycle. With some very similar types of situations where little things were getting in the way of, big financial decisions, and people were not happy with their purchase. So I thoroughly recommend. I tweeted it out. If you want to follow me on Twitter, Timo Elliott, you will find that link. So,
and not to mention first world problems.
Yeah,
I tell that family, my 11-year-old goes And you tell me I'm addicted to phones? How did that happen? You're right.
And to one thing you mentioned is, you said, how can we make sure that this doesn't happen again in the future? But I think one of the nice things about experience management as the idea is that you could actually intervene in real time. So as something was going wrong, there would be a mechanism to try and figure out how you can reach out to that individual and fix that individual. So there's one scale is doing it better overall, and the other scale is in real time.
Oh yeah, a little tweet from this company saying, we know you experienced this problem, we're terribly sorry, we'll look for a solution for you, would have completely turned around the situation for me. It's one little thing. Now, let's talk about technology. What do you need to make that happen? First of all, you cannot have just a bunch of feedback tools or surveys or whatever to collect, because where is this data going? So you need a platform where the data is collected in a good way where you can work with it. Second is, when you want to have an impact, you need to have connected systems, processes which go end to end, so that actually this feedback can trigger some reaction, not only that the company reacts and gets in communication with me, but they improve a process of testing and making sure this doesn't happen again, which has to do with suppliers, supply chain, manufacturing, all of that, operational pieces that we have. And now we're coming to the center of this conference, business technology platform. You need a glue in the middle between the experience platform and all the operational applications to really make sense of that, because I may be just an exception, all right? So let's ignore what Ivo feels, he'll get over it. It may be something that many, many people feel at the same time. No way you can browse through over free text comments and figure out. You need artificial intelligence.
That's been key, is that people have tried to do it, but they couldn't do it at scale.
They couldn't do it at scale, exactly.
Coping with that kind of unstructured sentiment information has been hard.
And this is where Jürgen and team come into the play. They can look at the platform. They know how to deal with unstructured data from various sources. They know how to extract the real information. They know how to put it into motion and to transmit through the cloud platform over to the applications so that people really can take action. And this is the secret sauce. I mean, there are many people working on the X, right? If you go for feedback management, tons of vendors. There are many people who have good applications, although we have the best, but other people have applications as well. But this glue in the middle to really get the information out, package it in the right way, and put it into the end-to-end chain of process, that's something I believe we're the only one to think about that. And this is a big plus when you look at best-of-breed vendors who can do a little piece. A little piece doesn't work in this whole chain of bad experience, react, change the product so that it doesn't happen again.
And talking about scale, I think you can take that customer frustration that you had, which is still an area where people have spent a lot of time thinking about the customer experience. But I think you can translate it directly into everyday business process. It could be budgeting. Maybe I don't like my budgeting process. Maybe it's the process of trying to purchase something internally. So I think you can map all of that into the more traditional world of application.
Look at employees. And I'm no different. So I work with my team. Once a year we have a feedback, and then you enter into the system, my opinion, the person's on my team opinion, we see if it matches and so on. What if my team could give once a week feedback on how they feel about me? And I would see it in an anonymized way to see, last week they loved me, this week not so much. I could see that signal and do something about it. I would love that, right? And this is the new way of getting feedback, being open to it. So in real time, you sense where the team is going, where emotions are going, you can do something about it, versus learning half a year later when probably 3 people have quit their jobs and you don't know why.
And just as an aside, there's a very nice SAP Analytics Cloud demo where we integrate unstructured and structured information to illustrate just those themes. So, but before we spend too much time, how do we go to market with this? How do we work with customers to help them understand what we think is the opportunity and get their feedback?
So it's a layered approach. So you've seen at airports, you've seen these ads where we really talk about business as feelings, which is something which resonates with our audience because it's kind of surprising. People know it, specifically in the marketing community. This is a well-known discipline to think about experience, but this is not something which goes throughout the company. So business as feelings, emotions matter is something on the highest level where we want to communicate really, really well. This matters. And then at the next step, This is working with you, working with our employees, working with our customers to explain, hey, these are the implications on how to build that platform. This is how technology can really help here. All the way, of course, to working with our customers and advising them how they can transform to an experience-driven company while we do the same and we learn from each other. And then in the end, it is all about great customer stories where customers come and say, hey, this is what I've done, this is how I got more successful, this is how I eliminated or mitigated through bad experiences which customers have. So that's an approach that you'll see all the way from print ads to whatever paid media that you see on LinkedIn, Facebook, and what have you, all the way to conferences like this. So it's really big for us to make this whole experience management theme work all the way from very top Clive Owen videos all the way to banners, white papers, and everything that we do.
So you mentioned customer stories. By an amazing coincidence, we just happen to have a customer here. So please come and join me on stage. Florian Cazeres of VINCI Energies, from the most beautiful city in the world.
Hello.
Paris, please take a seat.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I think I have the mic.
Oh, you do? Great. Okay. Well, before we go any further, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your company.
Yes. So hello everyone. So my name is Florian, working for VINCI Energies, and my role basically is to drive innovation for the company and accelerate innovation around SAP. Our company, VINCI Energies, is a French-based company. So we focus on energy transition and digital transformation for the customers. We operate globally with a presence in more than 50 countries around the world, and the turnover is 12.6 billion euros. So through our brands, we are present in industry sector, facility management, building solutions. That's that's it.
Great. Just tell us a little bit more about how you're using SAP technology today.
Yeah. So basically, the group has been growing a lot thanks to external acquisitions. So we have a very diversified business, always focusing on projects. So back in 2012, we had a very heterogeneous ERP landscape with more than 17 ERP in the landscape. So that time we were on ECC, and we decided to move to S/4HANA on a single digital platform, one single client. So we did this migration back in 2018 during the summer, and right now we can really bring benefits and innovation for the user. So concretely, we are using intelligent technology such as SAP machine learning cash application for reconciliation between customer invoices and bank statement. We are using SAC for BI reporting, embedded analytics. We can provide dashboard for operational guys. We are using C/4HANA Suite and SAP Service Cloud for Field Service Manager. And recently, we also started to use SAC planning for our director. So many potentials and many SAP solutions for the users. Yeah.
And so maybe if we unwrap the operational side of things, sounds like it's going great. How about the customer experience side? You've touched on it already, but just to be clear, how is this technology helping you do something different with your customers and suppliers?
So it really helps with the C/4HANA Suite, especially for with the SAP Service Cloud, where the customer can create a customer request in case of an issue, and we have people on field that can operate on the field, and then everything is integrated with our SAP system. So this is one part. And then regarding Qualtrics and experience management, we are starting some reflections. We have some ideas on the safety part, for example, safety. Also, maybe tomorrow for service management, ability to, in real time, collect data and maybe get some insight regarding how the work has been performed on the field. So we are starting our reflection, and maybe soon Qualtrics.
Great. I mean, and I love the idea of safety, which is a nice one, because it just emphasizes that it can be about, it's not just about the purchasing or frustration. It can be about whether you feel safe or not.
Exactly. Yeah.
Something that you might want to add.
Yeah. I've been discussing a lot with ECNO industry, we are part of ECNO, discussing with other companies. And yes, safety is one of the biggest topic right now, so yeah.
Okay.